Ladies and gentlemen, please listen up. Every single person needs a whiteboard and a notebook out and ready to go. We are moving very quickly today. Friendly reminder, on Monday, everybody in this room is doing a primary source. I know, I'm excited too. I love primary source day. And it's about the Ottomans. Could be worse. Everyone loves the Ottomans. So, Monday you do have a primary source. You have 11 through 20 on your vocab. Tuesday you have 21 through 30 in a lecture. Wednesday you have a test, 28 minutes. So it's 2 minutes off of the test you took yesterday. You have the focus and pieces due on Wednesday. You have no map this week. We cut it in order to adjust for time. Everyone good? Okay. I do want to give you a heads up on Tuesday of this coming week. So next Tuesday, it is National Holocaust Remembrance Day around the world, and we actually have the privilege of having an actual Holocaust survivor here at Plain High School to speak to you. Do you know how many we have left? Not a lot. So the fact that this person her name is Sylvia Richmond or Reichman, or she's Polish, so I don't know which it's going to be. She actually was in the camps. So she will be here on Plant Campus on Tuesday to talk about her experiences, what she's learned, and what her hopes are for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not trying to be dramatic. We are losing them every single day. This human reminder of what occurred during World War II. Yes? Just like how we're losing our World War II vets every single day. We're a living reminder. I will be there. You should be there too. I may offer extra credit. I'll think about it. But more importantly, how many times do you think you're going to have the opportunity to listen to a Holocaust speaker? It's at 3:45 in the auditorium, so it's right after school. I would plan on being there. It's not an opportunity you get very often, and the fact that we have a Holocaust survivor here at Plain High School is like a big deal. Can we agree? So, I will let you know on Monday if I'm giving extra credit. I will think about it. More importantly, be a good human. And you should hear these types of stories because the personal reminders are what hit things home for us. Can we agree? So you should be there because we're losing them every day. And we have one coming, and you should be there for that. So that's on Tuesday at 3:45 in the plant auditorium. You should really, 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 really be there because your opportunities to hear someone who was there and who experienced it is running out every day. All right? So, Monday, 11 through 20. This weekend is Gasparilla. Don't be idiots. Stay away from it. I know you're not, but I'm going to tell you to. I will not be there. Your girl's going to Orlando, and I hate Orlando. That's how much I hate Gasparilla. I hate Gasparilla more than I hate Orlando, and I really hate Orlando. So, stay away from it. Don't do anything stupid. Consequences are everywhere. Can we agree? Didn't we learn that this week? A split-second decision can have a huge impact on your lives. Same thing happens this weekend as well. So please make correct decisions. Make sure you're thinking clearly and long-term, friends. It's a stupid, fake, made-up tradition. There's never been a pirate invasion in Tampa. It's literally a tourist trap. They invented it in 1904 to attract tourists to Tampa. And then look at you idiots dressing up in pirate outfits 100 and something years later. I hear. I hear. So, all right. So that's what I'm going to say about Gasparilla. Don't be a moron. All right, here we go. Ottoman Empire. Of course, at the top you have week 21. Of course. So, at the top, you have Ottoman week 21, and then you have the Ottoman Empire. Okay, you need to know that the Ottoman reaches its peak military extension in the late 17th century. You're going to write down this first bullet point. If it's the 17th century, what numbers does it start with? 1600s. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, you need to be familiar because sometimes AP asks questions, that say 17th century and you have to know it's 1600s. Or they say the 18th century and you need to know it's the 1700s. So if you're not doing that math in your head, you need to learn how to do it because it's going to be coming up on especially your essays. Alright. Okay, the end of expansion is your next thing. The end of expansion is going to come because of the Russians and Europeans' dramatic improvement in military. The Russians and the Europeans' dramatic improvement of military. Dramatic improvement of military. So, are the Ottomans improving or are they gone stagnant? Stagnant. Who's improving now? Europe is improving at an incredibly fast rate. The Ottomans are now starting to stagnate. You need to know that janissaries. What's a janissary? A Christian fighter in what system? Devashmir. Remember, Devashmir is a system. A janissary is the actual Christian soldier in that system. Are going to be included in palace intrigue. You need to know that expression. So, no, we've talked about palace intrigue before a long time ago. What is palace intrigue? Shannon? Yeah! They're sleeping around. They're having affairs. They're partying too hard. Does that make them look good or make them look weak? It makes them look weak, people. Hello? Yes? Yes? Typically, when you have an affair scandal break out, it's typically not a good look on you. Can we agree? Yes? Okay? Okay. People seem confused by that. Like, oh, it's not a good thing. Okay? So, we are also going to see is local warlords are going to start competing for Ottoman soldiers. Local warlords are competing for Ottoman soldiers. Is that a good thing? No, not at all. Right, Lauren? It's not a good thing at all. So, you need to know they have massive corruption and they misuse taxes. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you had to summarize the Ottoman Empire right now, would you say thriving or, oh no? Oh no. Things are not going well for them. Okay, so things are not going well for them. Okay? So, you need to know, and you need to put a big star because this is going to be a huge component. We start having nationalistic uprisings within the Ottoman Empire. You start having nationalistic uprisings within the empire. Okay? And underneath that, you're going to write nationalistic. If I'm writing it, it's worthy of you. Nationalistic. The belief that the people / culture from a specific country are superior and deserve their independence of government. Okay, so in this place, okay, so in the Ottoman Empire, Greece is inside the Ottoman Empire at this point. So with nationalistic tensions occurring, what do the Greeks want? They want their independence, okay? So all of a sudden we have this idea called nationalism happening. Now here in 2020, started really in 2014, and we see it comes to summation in 2016 with the election of Donald Trump. What is his big quote? Make America great again, okay? That whole thing is very nationalistic. Can we agree? That America is the greatest country. If you listen to Donald Trump speak, whether you agree with him or don't agree with him, if you listen to him speak, he talks about how America is the greatest country in the world and how we shouldn't be challenged and how if you aren't friends with us, then you're our enemies and all those types of terms that keep coming up. Yes, holding other countries accountable, making sure people understand the greatness of America. That's nationalistic. Because what is according to Donald Trump and all the people who really support Donald Trump, whether you're with them or not, whatever, the most important thing is whose greatness? America's greatness, okay? That's nationalistic. We're starting to see nationalism arise for the first time during this time period. This is a huge deal, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to get worse after World War I. It's going to get horribly worse after World War II, and then it's going to resurge in 2014. Okay, so nationalism is a big deal. You need to understand it. Okay. What I need you to know is that the Ottomans are going to be fighting the Russians. The Ottomans are going to be fighting the Russians. Because the Russians know the Ottomans are on the brink of collapse. So, if the Russians know the Ottomans are on the brink of collapse, why are they fighting with the Ottomans? What do they want? They want territory, absolutely. Okay, so they're in it for territory. Now, just like today, do we think Russia is great for Europe or bad for Europe? Bad for Europe. This whole thing, whether you're following the impeachment or not, whether you think Donald Trump should be impeached or not, I don't personally care. You can make your own damn decisions about it. However, the reason why he's getting impeached, why the impeachment is literally happening right now, which is a trial, impeachment is in trial, not removal from office, is because we gave $461 million to Crimea to fight the Russians. Why did we give so much to Crimea to fight the Russians? Yeah, because the Russians have already expanded into Crimea and they're trying to expand further into Ukraine. So we're trying to stop them, Russians, from expanding all the way into Ukraine. Okay? What is happening now is that the Russians are trying to expand into the Ottoman Empire. So the British, write this down, the British come to the aid of the Ottomans and stop the Russians in an embarrassing way. Why do you think the Russians were embarrassed? In an embarrassing way. What is the difference between Russia and Britain at this point? Britain, well, that's not going to help them in the Ottomans, but yeah, you're completely right. Britain's industrialized. You need to write that down. Britain is industrialized, Russia is not. So who's going to kick butt here, people? Britain. It's going to be embarrassing for Russia. Do you think there's going to be long-term consequences to that? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But we'll get to that. Okay? So, you need to know that the Russians are pushing in on the Ottomans. The British are going to fight with the Ottomans. Why are they fighting with the Ottomans? Is it because they love the Ottomans? No, they just don't like the Russians. Okay? So that's why they're in it. And they're going to kick the Russians' butt in a very embarrassing fashion. And that's going to shape Russian culture for the next about 200 years. So when you wonder why the Russians today in 2020 hate Europe and the West, guess where it starts? British and the Ottomans embarrassing them. Yeah. So, kind of funny. All right. Ottoman economy is your next heading. Okay. Ottoman Empire refuses to industrialize and can't industrialize, so they don't try. The upper echelon refuse, like the upper powerful people refuse to industrialize, and they don't have the natural resources, so they just don't industrialize. They do import a lot, and I would underline a lot of manufactured goods. They do import a lot of manufactured goods. If I am not really exporting, but I am importing a lot of things, is that good for my economy or bad for my economy? It is very bad for your economy. You need to make a start. It causes a drain on the Ottoman economy. So, they're not making money, but they're spending crazy amounts of money on manufacturing, on purchasing manufactured goods. So, this is hurting their economy significantly. Okay? Because their economy is hurting, they take out foreign loans. You need to know that. And guess who's writing them the biggest loans? What country is the most powerful country in the world? Britain. Guess who they're buying most of their goods from? Britain. So guess who's making crazy money off the Ottomans? Britain. So, two major things about the Ottoman economy. You need to know that they do not industrialize, and they are import-based, which means their economy is upside down. In order to try to compensate for their upside-down economy, they begin taking out foreign loans to Britain mostly. Is that a good thing or a bad thing for your country? Bad thing, okay? So, what is going to happen? They're going to default on their loans. You need to know that. They're going to default on their loans. What does it mean to default? You can't pay them back. Absolutely. You can default on a credit card if you don't pay it back after a couple of months. If you skip payments, a couple of months, you default on the loan, and then they can seize. Like, for instance, if you don't pay your car payment, the car company who owns the car, whoever bank owns your car, will come and seize your car. Okay? So, if you default on the loan, it's not a good thing. So, the Ottoman Empire is going to default on the loan, which allows Britain to control their entire economy. The Ottomans are going to default, which allows Britain to control their economy and exempt all Europeans from Ottoman taxes. You need to know that. It allows Britain to control the economy of the Ottoman Empire and allows all European countries tax-free control of the Ottomans. Guess what is absolutely horrific for them? Europeans getting tax-free. Alright. So, how's Ottoman Empire economy looking? Oh, it's atrocious. Okay, so, government reforms is your next heading. So, their economy is complete shit. But who is loving it, though? The British. All European countries are doing better now than the Ottomans are completely collapsed, but the British are doing best. Okay. Here we go. So, you do need to know they are going to try to attempt. The first dude to attempt is Sultan Selim III. Okay. Sultan Selim III is going to try to do some tax reform. He tries to do some tax reform. He tries to start charging taxes. How do you think the British deal with that? They don't like it. So what they do is they pay the Janissaries to kill new troops. Essentially, what you need to know is that Selim III wants to rebuild the army and wants to do taxes. He eventually, anyone who challenges British authority is killed. You need to write that down. Anyone who challenges British authority is killed, and Selim is then imprisoned. So, what message are the British trying to send all future sultans? Don't challenge them. Yeah, that's the message they're sending. Pretty successfully, I would say, by the way. Okay, so his son eventually will take power. His name is Sultan Mahmud II. Okay, he comes into power and he immediately kills all the Janissaries. Do you used to know that? He loves that. Why did he kill all the Janissaries? Evan? Yeah, and they were the ones who imprisoned his father. Keep that in mind. It was the Janissaries that the British controlled and manipulated into fighting for the British cause. So, Mahmud II comes in and he has all the Janissaries massacred. So do we have any more Janissaries in the Ottoman Empire? No, they're gone. You may want to make a note of that. Okay, he is also going to try to reform schools, taxation, telegraph, and postal service. So he's trying to modernize the Ottoman Empire. He is trying. So he is the first real attempt at trying to modernize the Ottoman Empire. Mahmud II. Madison, you had a question, my love.
So they didn't send the Janissaries to kill the Sultan. They sent him.
No. So Sultan Selim the third, he is the one that is. Thank you, Reagan, for dropping down my phone. The Janissaries are the ones killing everyone on behalf of the British. The British buy them, and the Janissaries start killing everyone.
But they weren't sent to kill the Sultan.
No, they imprisoned them. After the French Revolution, you really don't kill leaders anymore. Like, you kind of don't do that because everyone's like, oh shit, like, look at the bloodthirsty French. The French still, like, when we see the French are, like, protesting, because they protest, like, all the time, do we say, like, oh, look at democracy in action, or are we like, oh my god, the French are at it again? Like, we kind of roll our eyes, right? With that being said, like, the idea of killing your leader is not a good look anymore. So people aren't doing it.
So if we were asked a question on a test asking who was the first person to attempt it,
To attempt it is, he's going to, like, verbally say it. He's the actual successfully first one. He's the first one. He's going to challenge the authority of the British. He's actually going to do something about it. How do you think it's going to work out for him? Okay. All right. What?
Those years of life spent.
Yeah. Well, it's when they're ruling.
Oh.
They rule. Yeah, they rule. So he dies in 39. Like, you don't retire from Sultan.
How did he rule for so long?
Who?
Sultan itself.
Because he's the guy who loses his entire country to the British.
Oh.
And then he's like, oh no, the British are in power, we should do something about it. And then the British are like, nah, it's ours. So that's fine. Alright. I know you don't really give a shit about the Ottoman Empire. I'm aware. I know no one's like, wow, this is really fascinating. Wow, how cool. I'm so glad I learned this today. I'm aware. I will tell you, they will be on your AP exam. I'm telling you, this that I'm teaching you will show up in at least one set of primary documents with questions, or it's an essay. AP loves this shit because everyone hates it. Because it's so boring. Can we agree? Like, you just don't care. I'm so sorry. I know you don't care. I can see your faces, and you don't give a shit. And I see that. And I'm aware. Because I'll tell you, I also don't really care. I think it's kind of cool that they reject industrialization and then get completely screwed over, and this is the first place you really see it, and so that's pretty cool. But, like, I'll tell you, trying to enthusiastically teach sophomores this really sucks. But I will tell you, this is a big deal. So we're going to stop for a minute, and we're going to do some whiteboards to make sure you have a pulse. And then we're going to pick up at Tanzimat reforms, which is a huge deal. Because I know you don't give a shit. Like, Lauren can barely keep her heartbeat going. Like, she's, like, literally would rather just be done with it than deal with this anymore. And I don't blame you, Lauren. I'm just saying you're going to need this information. So, I'm sorry. Here we go. On your whiteboard, please tell me. The Ottomans are going to be fighting with what European country trying to invade them, and they invite in a neighbor, and it's not going to go well for them. Who is it, Katie? The Russians. So the Ottomans and the Russians are fighting because the Russians smell blood in the water that the Ottomans are dying. However, the Ottomans are going to join the team with what industrialized power? What industrialized power are they going to join up with? Brian? The British. And the British are going to come and defeat the Russians embarrassingly, and that's going to have huge consequences on the Russian side, which we'll deal with in a little bit. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what do we call, I know you just don't care about this, and it's really hard to be excited about it. I'm aware. Please tell me, true or false? The Ottomans industrialized. Start easy. What do we got? Tess. False. The Ottomans do not industrialize, but they base their entire economy on doing what with manufactured goods? Okay. All right. We were listening to something. Unhappily listening, but we were listening. Evelyn. Imported goods. Okay. So, what is it called when the Ottomans can't... Oh, so their economy is flipped. They're spending too much and they're not making any money. Because they have a terrible economy, they start taking out what from industrialized countries? They start taking out what, Joey? Foreign loans. Okay? They can't pay back these foreign loans because they have no industry. So what happens when you can't, what is the term we use when you can't pay back a loan? Jared?
Default.
You default on the loan. Okay? Now, once they default on the loan, the British control the Ottoman economy, and they give themselves what status in the Ottoman Empire? What do they give themselves in the Ottoman Empire? Good. What do they give themselves? Madison? No taxes, which are called capulations, by the way. Okay? Capulations. Okay? So, capulations, do you want to know how to spell it? Capitulations, just kidding. Capitulations. Okay? So, they're allowed to avoid all Ottoman laws. They're above the law. They can do whatever the hell they want. Capitulations. Okay? Is this a sign of a good economy or complete trash economy? Yeah, it's not good. Okay. Alright, so who is the emperor who is going to be trapped in a palace and then executed because he challenged the authority of the British? Who is it, Claire? Sultan Selim III. However, his son is going to kill all the Janissaries. The Janissaries are the ones the British used to exploit the Ottoman Empire. He is going to kill all of the Janissaries, and then he's going to do some minimal reforms. Who is the emperor, Claire? Mahmud II. There you go. All right, here we go. You're awake now. I know. Physically moved. Your next heading under government is Tanzimat reforms. This is a huge deal, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. The Tanzimat reforms. I do want you to write down the years. I don't expect you to memorize the years. I just want you to have them as a frame of reference. So, this is going on right before the American Civil War and right after the American Civil War. So, keep that in context. Okay? So, you need to know that the Tanzimat reforms are trying to get control away from Europeans back to the Ottomans. It's trying to take some control away from the Europeans and back to the Ottomans in the Ottoman Empire, of course. Okay? They are trying to modernize their government because they see that this isn't working. Okay? Now, they start becoming anti-religious. Tanzimat reforms are anti-religion. Because keep in mind, in the West, we've had the Enlightenment, which has started separating them from religious leadership, correct? We're now having secular leadership. So people in Ottoman Empire are like, hey, maybe we should start going more secular and get away from the religious ties because we're trying to modernize. You need to know two major oppositions: religious conservatives and all the foreigners. Okay, so people are not happy inside. Now, if you're a real Ottoman citizen, are you happy about this? Yeah, absolutely. You're trying to get your country back, right? So the Ottoman people are happy, except for the religious conservatives, because they're like, how can you give up Islam and all this stuff? Like, you're becoming godless and all this stuff. And then all the British on the other side are like, whoa, you're trying to take our power away. Hell no. Okay? So, the Tanzimat reforms are happening. You're going to put a big star. This is a big deal. There is going to be a radical group called the Young Ottomans. There's a group called a radical group. So they're very extreme. Okay? Who believe the Tanzimat reforms have not gone far enough. They haven't done enough. They believe the Tanzimat reforms are good and they're leading in the right direction. However, they haven't gone far enough. Okay? So the Young Ottomans, okay, they believe the Tanzimat reforms are good, but they haven't gone far enough, are going to want a constitutional government. Not just reforms, but a constitutional government. And this is where shit starts getting interesting. Okay, so skip is it's still under government, but we're starting the Young Turk era. Here we go. Everyone loves a good coup. Can we agree? How about two coups? Yeah, things get a little wild here. Here we go. So, the Young Turks. Young Ottomans, Young Turks, they're the same thing. Okay. You need to know that the Young Turks stage a coup to remove Abdul Hamid II. You need to know that. I'm sorry, that's a long name. I'm aware. The Young Turks organize a coup. Who can remind me what a coup is? We've talked about it 10,000 times. What's a coup? Oh God, we don't know what a coup is? Yeah, it's when a small group overthrows and kills the leader. Julius Caesar led like the first major official coup. Yes? You remember that? What do you got?
Wait, did I take him out or did I put him in?
Okay, so they kill the emperor and they put in, I'm sorry, you're right. They put in Abdul Hamid. I'm so sorry. Make sure you have that clear. They kill the Sultan and replace him with Abdul Hamid II. Maggie, thank you so much. I'm so sorry. Yes. Okay? Now, Abdul Hamid II is put into power by the Young Turks. So, when he gets installed, he creates a constitution and a representative government. So, are the Young Turks happy or sad? Happy. So, as soon as he's put into power, he creates a constitution and a representational government. Except, and you're going to write it in nice and big words, he cancels it a year later. Why does he cancel it a year later? Because he's powerful and he can do that. He's like, ha ha ha, suckers, you put me here, and now I can do whatever the hell I want. Yeah, buddy. And that's what he's going to do. So, that's not going to be good. Okay, so, what happens is, the Young Turks get exiled to Paris. Which sounds like you could be going worse places. Everyone gets exiled to Paris. I wouldn't mind being exiled to Paris. You would like you could get Trump to exile me to Paris. Huh? Everywhere is Paris, girl. Okay, so the Young Turks get exiled to Paris. Okay? Well, while they're in Paris, just like everyone else who gets exiled to Paris, like Lenin gets exiled to Paris for like 6 years. He listens to fabulous jazz music, reads a bunch of American novels, and then goes back to Russia and like overtakes Russia. That's what he did. You go to France, you come back stronger. That's how it works. What happens is they get exiled and then they go back to the Ottoman Empire and they force Abdul Hamid to restore parliament and dethrone him in favor of Mahed V. Rashid. Okay, so they go back, they force Abdul Hamid II to restore parliament, and then they replace him immediately with Mahed. What do you think they do to Abdul? He dies of poison. Not by the Ottomans. Yeah, it was so not by the Young Turks. He just happened to choke and die of poison because his throat was bleeding because there was a hole in it. What do you think, my love? The Young Turks said they would never execute. We are not the French. All right. Now, that's how the Young Turks come into power. Skip a space, center it, Young Turks control on it. I would say not a smooth transition. We agree? So, the Young Turks are now in control. Okay? They are going to make Turkish the official language. Okay? They're going to make Turkish the official language, which pisses off a lot of people. Because it was a huge empire. It's obviously smaller now. But there you go. They are going to try to stabilize, but will fail. And the Ottoman collapses in 1818. It will try to stabilize the Ottoman Empire, but it's going to fail, and it will collapse in 1918. There you go. That was your Ottoman Empire. Did you enjoy it? You want to get into some real chaos? To Russia we go, friends. Skip a space, center it. Here we go. I hope you're ready for this ride of emotions. The Russians are just a mess, girl. They're all over the place. All right, here we go. Russia is your heading, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you just need to be aware that Russia is one of the most diverse countries on the planet. You need to know that. It is one of the most diverse countries on the planet. Why is it one of the most diverse countries on the planet? Because it's huge. It's huge. It's huge. Okay? So, we have the Romanovs. Okay? The Romanovs are in power. You need to know their names. The Romanovs are going to start with Peter the Great. Do we remember him? Yeah, he's like, their family is still going right now. Okay? So, the Romanovs are still in power, and they're autocratic, which means what? What does that mean to be autocratic? Maggie? Yeah, whatever they say goes. So, has any Enlightenment ideas shown up in Russia?
No.
God, no. No, they've gone the other way with it. Okay, so, you need to know that in Russia, the nobles are exempt from taxation and military duty. So, who's paying all the taxes in Russia? The poor. Guess who's tired of paying all the taxes? The poor. And they're also abusing the serfs. Okay, so who is miserable in Russia? The poor. Just like in France right before the revolution, the people of Russia are just pissed. Okay, this is how big their empire is at this point. Yeah, that's a lot. Keep in mind, they're way down here into the Middle East. They're all over the place. So they're bigger than they are today. They're huge. So, the Crimean War. I've already kind of taught it to you, but you just didn't know what it was called. The Crimean War is your next thing. Okay? The Russians try to take Ottoman territory because they're dying. Russians try to take Ottoman territory because they're dying. Europe is worried about the balance of power. So Britain comes to the Ottoman aid. Is it because they love the Ottoman, or is it because they didn't want Russia to win? They didn't want Russia to win. So, the Crimean War, you need to know this, is Ottoman British versus Russia. Ottoman/British versus Russia. And you're going to put a big star, because this is going to be a huge problem. Russia loses epically badly. Like horrifyingly embarrassing. Like they showed up to like Gatling guns, well, with swords. They showed up to having like what we would see the beginning of tanks with horses. Yeah, it's a humiliating loss for the Russians, okay? Because Russia is not industrialized. You need to put a star next to that. They lose because the Russians are not industrialized. And who is industrialized? Britain. Are the Ottomans? No. However, the British are, and the British kick their butts because they are industrialized. Okay. This is going to cause ripple effects. This loss is going to shape Russian politics in every way going forward. The Crimean War starts a chain reaction. And the first thing they do is like, yo, bro, let's get rid of the serfs. Terrible idea. Okay, so they realize, so the Russians, before you write something down, the Russians realize they're super behind. Yes, they just got their butts, like, not even kicked, like, literally, like, ripped off of their bodies and then, like, bunted. Like, horribly. So, they realize they need to reform. So, one of the first reforms they do is emancipation of the serfs. They have serfs. They emancipate the serfs in 1861. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the same year we fight the American Civil War. Keep in mind, Europe loses their serfs during the Black Plague in the 1300s. We're 500 years behind them, and the Russians are like, shit, maybe we should get rid of our serfs too. They're 500 years behind! Don't worry, it's gonna go to shit. If you thought this was a good idea, you're wrong. Have a good weekend, guys. It's a terrible idea. They're all gonna starve to death. I'm not 100%. Like, don't quote me on it. Like, don't quote me on it.
I hope it is.
Like, don't. Like, don't be like Bennett says there's a fire drill. I would not say that. Because you know I'm terrible at grown-up things. Sorry, darling. Good luck on your test, nonetheless. So don't quote me on the fire drill, but don't be surprised.